Hi, my name's Mal Jefferson. I got these mics from a fella called Brian Kelly. Now, Brian Kelly had the contract for the Cavern to supply the microphones, the wiring and the PA equipment, which started about 57, I think January 57 the Cavern opened. And every week he'd come in and do whatever needed doing, because these particular mics are the original ones that were used until 1962-63, heavily used by the Beatles. Brian Kelly ran Alpha Sound, 50 Stewart Road, Waterloo, just around the corner from Johnny Guitar. I was going down because I was building speaker cabinets, and in the end I was the sole speaker cabinet manufacturer for Hesse's and Rushworths under the trade name Stag. And the ones here in the studio are all built by me, Master Sound, and I designed them. That's what I was doing. I was an engineer and I was learning my trade. So I used to go to Brian for speaker chassis. I've still got some of the old chassis out here, and microphones. And I saw Brian in 64, 65, and he told me he'd put the original ones away because they kept getting damaged. And Bob Wooler was forever telling everybody not to blow on them, because the microphone has a transducer in the shape of a ribbon. It's a double ribbon mic about this thin and that long in the middle, and if you blow hard on it, it cracks. It just snaps. But they're developed so two people can sing on either side, which is ideal for the Beatles. Paul and George normally with John on that side, and then they'd switch. So I only needed two on the front of the stage and one at the back for the drummer. They never used goosenecks or things over. They just used them by the side of the drummer, like this, which was fine because they pick up from quite a way away, because these mics are actually designed for studio use. They're a very high quality mic, 20 Hz to 20K, and I really don't know why Brian used them. He should have really used dynamics, because dynamics last a lifetime. You just got a simple diaphragm in that goes backward and forward. But he used these maybe to get a bit more output, because the amplifier they used was a Vortexian 30 valve amplifier, and that had to be flat out, so you could only get out what you put in. So these had a higher signal, and there were also dual or triple contacts on them, so you could have low impedance, high impedance, or a quasi in between. These three are 1.74 kiloohms impedance, so they had a quasi impedance which suited the Vortexian valve, so you could get more gain on it. That's why I use them. But they were prone to damage. But having said that, they were good mics when they worked well and the ribbons were working. And most of the guys in the groups, when they got used to them and didn't blow on them and used them like they should do, slightly bent over and sing across them. You should always sing across the mic, because you don't want to flatten the diaphragm or the ribbon. You want it to oscillate freely, go backward and forward freely. Most guys got quite used to them. Ted was great on them. Lennon and the boys were very able to use them well, because they had a nice warm bottom end for the harmonies, and the Beatles were particularly renowned for the harmonies, and they did suit them. Here's some guys who use them you might recognise. Up here, of course, the Beatles' early Dick Matthews photograph. And the bands didn't carry PA in these days, remember. Nobody carried mics in those days. You hired them, or you used what was at the venue. These are at the venue. So the Beatles there. Is that John? John there. And a lovely one there with Paul. Paul's voice seemed to suit the mics because he had a more mellow, rounded voice. Sounded nice on them. Yeah. And that ugly swine there's me with the Master Sounds in early '64. We actually took over from the Beatles in August '63 when they left, and Bob Wooler gave us their diary, and for 6 months we were screamed at like we were stars, which was very nice. And I bought them not as an investment, just as because it was the Beatles and it was associated with them. I bought it in '68, I think. I bought these three on the stands, and I put them away, and I've never used them since, and nobody's ever touched them or been near them since.